This is Blythe Baines, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
I like that we jitter together. Can you pass me another? I love this coffee they've got here, and I don't want to move away from right here. I like that we together. Yes, I like this coffee they're serving me. How about you? I see your pupils dilating. I think it's the same with me. I love this coffee they are pouring me. I don't want it to stop. Just please leave that entire pot with me. With me. I want to jitter more together. I want to jitter together. Oh boy, I can't seem to get enough of this coffee. I think I'm going crazy, but I don't seem to mind it one bit. No, I don't mind it one time.
Cool. So my friend and I, we were headed back to Los Angeles, and so my friend's friend was supposed to drive us, but then we decided that my friend's stepfather would, so stepfather drives us, and then we missed the first ferry back to Seattle, and then we ended up missing the second ferry, and I was like freaking out at this point, being like, oh my gosh, we're gonna miss our flight, we're gonna have to like pay all this money for it. And I was like, no, gotta get into this like calm state of mind, everything's gonna be fine, it's all fine, even though we're not even in Seattle and our flight is in like an hour and 15 minutes. And so I call American Airlines, and I was like fully ready to like blame this on the ferry. Fully ready, but I was like, everything's gonna be okay. And so basically I get on the phone with this lady, and she's like, you might actually not have to reschedule because this flight is delayed by like an hour and 10 minutes. So try to get there, and you might make it.
Oh my gosh.
And sure enough,
no way.
we get it. Yeah, literally.
It's
so we
brilliant.
missed 2 different ferries, still made our flight.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that's like a miracle. It's a miracle. And I didn't even hear, the reason for why the flight was delayed that long, but we were at the airport for honestly like at least 35 minutes like waiting for the flight, so we completely made it good on time.
Whoa.
Just because of this happy coincidence.
These things, when you have those kinds of examples in your brain, it is, there is no way to look back to a time when we never thought that something like that was possible. It's like, okay, once we have enough of these examples, and it just becomes commonplace, and it just becomes something that, like, you can never It's crazy when you look. Okay, so for instance, that happening to you is like someone winning the lottery.
Yeah.
So if you look at it in that kind of sense, because
Yeah.
there had to be a whole bunch of tiny little things that
Yeah.
are zipping, zapping all around.
Yeah, no, exactly.
In order for that path to really open up the way that it did.
And that's why I think it's so important to understand everything happens for a reason. So even if you do like miss a flight or something, maybe you're supposed to meet like your future best friend, like who's going back to the same place. You have a great time talking, you get each other's numbers, and you become influential in each other's lives for like the rest of your lives. Or like maybe they're going to lead you to some other place. It's all... You have to realize that it's all helping you towards these goals. And when you can realize that these people are playing, just this wonderful part in this whole like play that is like the theater of life.
Yeah.
And you appreciate it, and you're like, okay, everything's happening for a reason. Then it's just like, holy cow.
How is this not being, this is really something that just really ought to be taught to kids right
Yeah.
from the beginning.
I wish that it was taught in churches. I wish that it was taught in schools. And I feel like I've been seeing more and more schools try to like implement meditation programs, which I think is a really good idea, just for combating with the the depression and the anxiety that so many kids are growing up with nowadays. Because when you really learn how to control your brain, and when you become friends with it rather than being controlled by it, you don't have the same kind of like anxiety and depression issues. And I think even nutrition is a big part of that, because like when I was a kid, I had the worst anxiety, like so bad. Like I would have panic attacks all the time. And when I changed my diet to mostly plant-based and just like no sugar or like very low amounts of sugar, when I started really understanding that the body's chemistry and feeding myself properly, that's when my anxiety went away. And I was like straight up like diagnosed with it. Like I was put on like meds for it. The meds made my brain so like foggy. And literally, just when I was younger, it was so hard to function because of it.
So crazy.
And literally just getting the nutrients that I needed, that was enough to make it so that I didn't have any of those kinds of issues.
Oh my gosh.
And, at that point, like when I was, getting better nutrition, my brain started working better. And there were still, the after effects of all that kind of stuff. But then when I was in that place, when I wasn't having like panic attacks 24/7, I started meditating. And literally, I just found this peace and this understanding. And I, like, out of everyone I know, I really feel like I have the least amount of issues. Like, I honestly can't think of one real, like, issue that I have. And I'm like, wow, that's really something, considering, like, back when I was a kid, it was just, like, every single day, just all these panic attacks, all this stuff.
Whoa.
Like,
What would you say is some of the first things that actually started you, like what were some of the breadcrumbs that you can look back on right now that the universe had placed there that where it started waking you up to seeing the hidden aspect?
Well, I think, honestly, like, when I got into manifestation, because I'd read a little bit about it, and I decided to start trying it. So the first day I was like, okay, I'm going to manifest a cup of coffee. And I came here, right to this place, met up with my friend, and just so happened that he was like, I'm paying for your coffee. And I'm like, well, this is the first day that I tried to do this.
I love it.
I
love it.
So got my free cup of coffee, and I had this plan before or whatever. And I was like, it can happen in any kind of way, because I go to the coffee shop across the street also. I was like, this can happen in any kind of way, and I wasn't setting it to happen that day. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, at some point, I'm gonna manifest a cup of coffee. I wasn't like, this guy has to buy me a cup of coffee or this is not gonna happen. I was like, at some point, it's gonna happen. Then the next day, I was like, I'm gonna manifest guacamole and chips. And so I went to this Mexican place in town, and I go there, and like I used to get like takeout from there a lot of like guacamole and chips. And so I go up there, and he has this bag, and he's like, today it's free for you. And that's never happened ever again in the history of me going there. that's the one time that I got my guacamole and chips for free.
What a great way to start off your journey in terms of, because you're like, okay, we did that.
Yep.
Let's try it. What's that?
So
oh my God.
I just, I had a notebook that I was using, and, I still own this notebook. I just don't carry it around anymore because it's full. And I would just list the things that I wanted to manifest, and I would check them off when they manifested, and I would write my synchronicities in them, and
beautiful.
Having just the mix of the synchronicities and the manifestations in a journal, it's just packing this thing full of belief and full of evidence that you're actually able to do this stuff. And so, yeah, it's honestly been, I've manifested some of the craziest stuff.
Oh my God. It's incredible. I mean, would you have ever thought that you'd be making your own EPs and, how cool is that?
Okay, the craziest part, so I, years ago, I don't know if it was years ago, it was right when I released my song Stars. That was the first song of mine that ever got played on the radio, and that's the song that I was like, okay, maybe I should be doing this music thing more, but that day I remember putting out an intention, and I was like, just to see if I could manifest it, I was like, I want to be with Sony. And I am now signed with a subsidiary of Sony.
Astounding.
And I'm just that's insane.
Astounding.
That's absolutely
wow.
insane. I literally put that intention out. It happened. Before that, I was with a subsidiary of UMG in Capital, and that was great too, but I just think it's so funny that, that whole thing ended up manifesting, and it was, I don't know, it's just the craziest thing, but yeah, it's I have a lot of synchronicities involving music, actually. The day that I fully decided that I wanted to pursue music, the day that I literally decided with Carter, okay, we're doing an EP, we're gonna figure this out. I love Lana Del Rey. I ran into Lana Del Rey at a bathroom at Tao. She's my favorite.
That's crazy.
Literally, and it was her birthday too. So
whoa.
The day that I decided to do music, I ran into my favorite musician. And I'm just that is absolutely insane. I was like, that's a sign.
Unignorable. I mean, that is just so, you, when you have that kind of sign, you're like, okay, the universe really has my back on this one. I gotta make sure I keep going forward with this.
Yeah. No, exactly. And it's been
wow.
It's been taking these steps towards all of the goals. Since we were on the radio show, we've had gotten a bunch more streams. I don't even think we had released the EP when I went on the radio show. I think the only song that I had out was Stars.
Wow.
And we actually, the other day, we just hit our millionth stream on Spotify.
Whoa!
Yeah, and so that was a milestone.
Whoa, that's crazy.
It was just absolutely insane because, and I'm sure that was one of the things that I had put somewhere on a list of I want a million Spotify streams, something like that.
Oh my God.
Because it's, I don't know, it's such a milestone.
Yeah.
And then you just gotta set more milestones. You're okay, well now I did that. But it's been really cool. We've gotten a pretty good Brazilian following, especially from this one song that I did called Crystal Clear, which is also kind of just about all this kind of stuff. And I like that, it's kind of attracted kind of open-minded base of listeners, which is really neat. People who are into some of this kind of stuff. And the people who listen to my stuff, they've just been so sweet. They send me the nicest messages. I feel so lucky because I don't have a lot of creepy people tweeting me hey baby, what's up? No, it's mostly just really nice people saying hey, I really like your music, I love this song, I listen to it on repeat, just all that kind of stuff. And I'm so grateful for it because I really did luck out in terms of getting a really great base of listeners. Really great supporters. I'm a lucky girl.
And look at the information that you're putting into your songs. That has a lot to do with it. I mean, that's, the information that you're putting into those songs, the people are reverberating with, and they're going to keep sharing that with others who reverberate with that same kind of.
I want to help open people up to this kind of stuff.
Yes.
I want to help empower people. I want them to see that they're you know, they are like conscious creators. Even, you know, I have a song that's like, we wanted it to sound like, you know, just girly, like almost like, I don't know, like you can listen to it from one standpoint and be like, oh, this is like, you know, basic girl song, whatever. But on another level, it's about manifestation, and it's called Spoiled. And it's just kind of like, you know, this pop song that's about manifestation and, you know, like, you know, if you can feel it, then it's real. And just like I've had some crazy experiences with like manifesting jewelry, and I think it comes from the point of like, you know, when you want something and the desire is coming from your soul and not your ego. Like I don't like jewelry because I think other people are gonna like look at me and think like, oh, like, you know, she has some nice jewelry. I like it because I believe that gold has kind of like spiritual powers, that, you know, gems have like, you know, these properties to them, like all this kind of stuff. And I think of them as, you know, like jewelry as like a beautiful work of art. And so I'm seeing it with that kind of perspective. And I think the Egyptians even just had all this understanding about these kinds of things, and that's why they were like all adorned in this gold. It wasn't because they were vain or anything. And so it's been in my life like strangely easy for me to manifest jewelry, even like very specific types of jewelry. Like I wrote a letter to a friend that was like, I really want, like I said, I want a ring, either a ring or a necklace with a navy blue sapphire. And literally it was the craziest thing, because 3 days later I was in a car with my mom and I said, I want a sapphire. And she's like a ring? I say, yeah, like a navy blue sapphire ring. And she says, well, 20 years ago my mother gave me one, but it was too.
So in that little piece you just heard there with Blythe Baines, she mentioned about writing that letter about the sapphire, getting it out there, and then her mom saying that she already had this sapphire that was too big for her, but it fit Blythe perfectly. And Blythe was talking about the importance of, you know, writing the letters, getting them out there. And I started thinking about this. There's this place, have you heard about this? It's called the Dead Letter Office. The Dead Letter Office. This is something that is at the post office. It is a facility within a postal service where the undeliverable mail is processed. So here we go. Mail is considered to be undeliverable when the address is invalid, so it cannot be delivered to addressee, and there is no return address, so it cannot be returned to the sender. So just think about this. All these dead letters are collected at this office. Do you think at this point, with all the technology we got, there'd be a way to look through all this and figure out where it came from, where it could go? You know, getting a hold of the original person even. Maybe there are no return addresses. You know, probably a lot of letters to Santa. So the Dead Letter Office, that's always been something that's kind of like rattled around in my brain. I once playfully named a song for a brief moment, the Dead Letter Office, just as a placeholder title. I love that idea, the Dead Letter Office. And so after listening to Blythe Baines talk about writing letters, what if you intentionally wrote letters to the Dead Letter Office? Dear Dead Letter Office. Dear Dead Letter Office. Who there would open that? What a fun little Easter egg to leave for somebody. You have no idea who's going to open it up. You have no idea who's going to take a look at it. What kind of eyes are actually looking at it, considering it, questioning it, cautious? I'd love to talk to any postal workers. I think I need to interview some postal workers. Do they ever get curious about the personalities, the handwriting? Are there any handwriting analyzers who have looked at letters or at the handwriting on the outside of these envelopes? Envelope. Have they looked on the envelope? Have they looked on the envelope? It's kind of like a Swedish surfer. Have you looked on the envelope? It's time to go surf on. So addressing letters to the dead letter office with these wonderful intentions. With these wonderful intentions. Wow. What if there's a rise in letters to the dead letter office after people listening to this podcast? Wouldn't that be fun to relate it directly to this? If you're going to send letters to the dead letter office, what would be some of your subjects? Dead letter office. Attention. Dead letter office. See, and then the post, so let's say, for instance, if you put a stamp or you don't put a stamp. Let's say you don't put a stamp. You go, attention, dead letter office. You write it out on the front. Will that poster worker, you want to believe that postal worker is going to pick that up, bring that to wherever the dead letter office is. How big of a space is the dead letter office? How long do they wait until they shred the documents? Do they not shred the documents? Do they hope that they got an investigator? The postal investigator. Now, see, that would be awesome. There ought to be a division like that. A detective, postal detective. What if there are psychics who work in there, in the dead letter office? They get these letters and they go, I can feel where this came from, this vibe. They track it down. They find out the mystery. Maybe they run their hand over the letter. They can find out what the contents are. What if it's admitting to a murder of something? Whoa. That could be a really cool idea. If you're going to use that idea, let's work together on it, huh? Let's work together on it. In this next segment, we have another crazy piece from the 311 cruise. And so it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure kind of conversation. There's a lot of conversations going on, and you get to listen. That's what's so fun about this. This is the whole Inspirado Projecto, this mixtape, so to speak, of every episode, enables you, dear listener, to tune in to whatever sounds you want to tune into. Isn't that fun? It's training you. It's training you. It's training me. We're all being trained. What are we training for? What are we training for? How to be better collaborators, how to be better reciprocators, how to be better antennae, how to be better receivers, how to be better transmitters, how to be the besters of the bestists. The bestest. The best. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm bestest. bestest. Pleasure to meet you. I'm bestest. This is my wife, Winnie Winstest, Brett Bestest, and Winnie Winnerist, Brett Bestest, and Winnie Winnerist. What the hell? Winnerist. She is the winnerist. Maybe she's an Olympic medal. Maybe she's in the Olympics. Winnie Winnerist. So good. Winnie Winnerist. Brett Bestest. Bestest at, just basically really doing a great job. Oh gosh. What about Walty? No. Wisey. No, Weiss. I think that's a name, right? Weiss. Wisest. That's good. Weiss wisest. So good. Weiss wisest. Wisest. So, here we go. We're tuning in. It's up to us how we want to view those conversations on this 311 cruise. This is, imagine Hunter S. Thompson during his Rolling Stone days. I am a gonzo journalist. I finally admitted it aloud. I'm a gonzo journalist.
It's so exciting.
So you guys listen to 311? I'm sure you guys do.
You know, I grew up. You know, it's so interesting. So, my cousin Scott Madden, way back in the day, he worked for Capricorn Records, and 311 was on Capricorn Records. Capricorn Records has since, disappeared, but he did all the Midwest promotion for 311, and so he would give us these CDs of these brand new bands that were not even out on the shelves yet, and it would have a little stamp on there in silver that would say, for promotional use only. You can't share this, you cannot duplicate this. So I had their first CD like 2 weeks before it came out in the stores, and I was like, it was like this crazy mysterious thing because I'd never heard any kind of music like that before in my entire life. And the frickin' snare drum, you never hear a snare drum like that in any other song in the world, and he's just I mean, dude, it's like frickin' like a drumline thing. It's amazing. And so I'd listen to music, and I appreciate 311 through the years, and I'd have a series of different songs. Now to be honest, I'm not very good with remembering lyrics.
Yeah, of course,
but
but of course you know what song.
But the vibe, the vibes feel good, and then for them to revive it, do it live, and look around and see all these people singing the lyrics, and just like, because there's a love, there's an appreciation for this, and so everybody is just giving themselves to it. It's so cool. And for everybody to unapologetically just, dude, like the devil. Did you see the devil costume guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you see the Jesus costume?
I did.
I wanted a picture of both.
I did too, and that's what I kept telling those guys. No, I never once saw it.
They had to fight or something.
Oh my God! Someone told me, I heard.
Or arm wrestle or some shit.
Oh my God! Yeah, like a series of crazy photos. Like maybe they're doing the slot machines. They're like this.
Each other.
Yeah. Whoa! There's an action photo, and they're playing craps, or something. But Satan, the Satan guy, that guy was falling asleep standing up. And did you see those contacts in his eyes? He's like this.
Oh my God!
But the contacts in his eyes were like, it was just like a pupil with white surrounded by a circle. You know those kinds of contacts? It's like it's just like. So I see through the window. And
he's just standing.
He's like this, and then he's bumping his head. He's bumping his head against the glass. And dude, and you see there's all this red on the glass.
Oh my God!
And his eyes are just, he's like this, he's going, conk. And me and this girl who's dressed like Velma for Halloween. She's dressed like Velma, and her tall boyfriend, or husband. The three of us, she goes, let's take Satan to his room. And then the boyfriend's and the husband's like, yeah, we're going to go to hell and back.
We're going to go.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we're outside, we're like, Satan, come on with us. So we take it to arm, and he's like trying to look us in the eye, and his eyes are just wide open, and he's like trying to look at us, and his eyes are like blinking strings. He's like, I fucking love you guys. I fucking love you guys. He's like trying to look us in the eye. I fucking love you guys. Thank you. We're like, come on, Satan, we're going to take you to your room. And we're trying to walk with him, and we're just kind of dragging him through the hall, and he's like, seriously, guys, I love you guys. And he's like trying to look us in the eye. And so we take him to his door, and like 3 or 4 times we can't get the key card to work. And then the door opens, and then the Velma girl, she's like, I need to use your bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom. And so we stand in the doorway with Satan, holding him up. He's like, he's wobbling, and he's like trying to look us in the eyes and like thank us for getting him home safe. And meanwhile, his roommate, or whoever's in the room, is sleeping in the bed. And, there's this light shining in there, and we're in the doorway. And we're loud. And, like, at least 15 minutes pass, and the girl's still in the bathroom. And I'm, like, trying to bide the time and talk slow. And, like, so Satan, it looked like you fell asleep with your eyes open. we thought it was time to take you back to your pad, you know, and thank God he remembered the number of his. He said it was like 5'5". He's like 5'7". I go, I love it, Satan. I think we just need one more digit in there. we could go through all those, you know, 1 through 0 or whatever. I'm like, we just need one more digit. Yeah, we're just one. So it was like solving this mystery. So it felt like a Scooby-Doo episode. So I had this tall guy. I had a little Velma girl. We had Satan. I was on the other side, and we're bumping through the hallway. And we're like, oh, excuse me. He is a big dude. No, he's not a little big dude.
That's a heavy guy, man.
He's a big dude. And God bless that guy for wearing the Satan.
Yo, for real.
The whole time. Oh my God, dude. So we're having a discussion with him in the hallway. And meanwhile, his roommate like turns around. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This is loud. He's like, no, dude. And he's like scratching his head. He's like, he's like, no, dude, this is awesome. This is awesome. And the guy, we just woke him up out of a deep sleep. He's
just laughing at his boy off.
He's stretching. He's like, no, this is awesome, man. Oh my God, dude. He's probably still half drunk. Meanwhile, we got drunk Satan in that drunk Satan. Oh my God.
What happened to the girl when she fell asleep in the bathroom?
She ended up coming out. She's like, Satan. She's like, I had to drop the kids off in the pool. And I'm like, zing. You know, I was like, oh my God, of course. And she's like, no, I'm just kidding. And we're like, and I'm like, oh my God, you're so funny. And we say, okay, goodbye, Satan. She goes, I had to bide some time. Yes, I did drop a bomb in the She's like, I
no shame in her game at all.
So she's thinking, if she makes him laugh, he'll kind of forget about the fact she stunk up the bathroom. Oh my God, there's so many levels to the hilarity of that moment in time.
That must have been an epic story.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What a fun thing. So as we're coming back, you know, the husband's like, he's like, yep, we did it. We went to hell and back. Oh my God, it was so
seriously, like literally trying to hold his heavy ass.
Dude, and I forgot to ask him if he was going to go to sleep. And all the horns, because he had the horns and everything. And his makeup was just crazy. And oddly enough, even though you know, his makeup was on the window, you know, that I saw him banging his head against, it didn't look like it must have been caked on there.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't have any makeup missing from his face.
Every day, or
he must
take a shower.
Well, that was the thing. I was wondering, like, is he going to sleep with like a plastic bag here so he didn't get the pillow, you know, red, or is he getting a pillow all red and like, I just mentioned like freaking out the maids. And
I know, it's all red every morning. Like,
oh my God,
make it sound a little bit
Satan.
There you
I
go.
mean, dude.
So fun to listen back on those audio records that I caught on the 311 cruise while Yachtly Crew was out there. So much fun. Now we're going to change gears and we're going to jump back into... I totally forgot that story happened where we walked down the hallway of Satan. It was so funny. Now we're on to another piece of the interview with Spencer McCall, the editor-director of The Institute, which is all about the Jejune Society. And then also, this movie that he's trying to figure out what to do with, called Bright Axiom, which is all about the Latitude Society. I've been watching and rewatching this documentary. He gave me a secret link to this thing. It's not out there in the world yet. I mean, this thing is awesome. If any of you are distributors or anything, let me know. And, yeah, let me know. And I'll pass your info on to him. It's these segments with Spencer McCall are mind benders. We also got mind benders with Blythe Baines. She's talking about manifestation of reality. We're talking here with Spencer McCall, the perception perception management. This guy, he creates realities that others live within. it's very reminiscent, this whole Latitude Society. When you see the trailer for this thing, which you can go to Vimeo and search for Spencer McCall. You'll be able to find it, along with a whole slew of other awesome short films that he did. But take a look at this, and you'll see how this is. And what's so crazy about this is that this is like the real-life actual embodiment of what reminds me of the stuff that when I was following the AndyKaufmanLives.com stuff. This is crazy how this stuff is looping right back around in some very interesting ways. Because on AndyKaufmanLives.com, there used to be this thing where it said King will invite... there's this whole thing called the Book of Illusions, and they're like 8 chapters. And so it was very interesting. That's something you want to check out too. Check out, if you go to you can really see this stuff. You can look through the history of what the website used to be. Check out, go to archive.org. Look in the Wayback Machine, type in AndyKaufmanLives.com. It'll come up for you all of the past pages. You can look through that information. I mean, as you can understand, in those days of the internet, it really hooked me onto this big, crazy rabbit hole. So one of the things was that people who would watch this particular DVD would get these golden tickets to take them out to an island, to take them out to Aruba, where King would reveal his true identity. And it's interesting when you read this stuff and you see, and knowing what I know with the AndyKaufmanLives.com stuff, seeing how that all evolved. This stuff reminds me a lot of that with the Latitude Society. This is like a real-life version of that. People received notices. They were contacted just by other people saying, you're special and we need you at this community. So anyway, without further ado, here we go. Spencer McCall, I think it's going to explode your mind, and we're going to have more bits of this in the future on other episodes. I'm divvying these up in 10 minutes. I don't have all that much to share, so I really want to draw it out because, man, it's so good. It's huge to wrap your mind around. All right, here we go.
I grew up Jewish. I hated going to temple, and I kind of abandoned. I had a misplaced moment where, and this was in college, and I think this is true for a lot of people, where I misplaced the hatred I had for the organization with the not spirituality or theology of it, but with some of the rituals that went along with it. So it's like just because like I don't like going to church doesn't mean I can't enjoy Christmas or whatever or Easter, you know. Right. And but for a little while, and I think this is true with a lot of people who like fall out of the congregation that they grew up in, either because they leave home or whatever, they have to lump a lot of that stuff in with it, whether that means like I no longer believe in any kind of higher power or anything like that. Is it still recording? All right, good. Yeah, so like I don't know. I think for some people when they leave their congregation, they abandon like any form of spirituality, and they also abandon a lot of the ritual that went along with it. For instance, maybe because I married somebody who's not Jewish, but like I can't remember the last time I celebrated Hanukkah, you know, and stuff like that. So anyway, it creates like a little bit of a vacuum that all of a sudden when you find this thing that says, okay, you don't need to believe in what you believed before, you don't even need to believe in a higher power, but you get this set of like rituals and this congregation, it fills this weird like hole in humanity where, I mean, we're all just these lonely weirdos like roaming around individually. So if we can figure out a way to congregate and have a set of practices that we all play an important role in, I think that fills a void for some people.
And I think too the pleasure and the excitement that comes with that community aspect, the connection with others, you know, singing along with each other, putting our arms around each other, holding their hands, this idea that you're sort of this one organism that's playing together, working together. And it's interesting when that's the element that is like the truest element in those religions.
Yeah,
it's the other strange icky stuff that might be, you know, that's built around that stuff.
Yeah.
That's like I love this aspect, but we could do without that stuff, you know. And it sounds to me like with the Latitude Society, it was almost like just from what I saw in the trailer, it seems like you were attempting to build a playful, utopian, safe area to do creative stuff.
Well, that's interesting that you talk about, like, you use the word safe, and I'll get to that in 1 second, but one other just quick note is, like, somebody in the film during an interview said something that I hadn't put the words to it until after I spoke with her, but we all say, like, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. Her thing is, I'm religious, I'm not spiritual. You know, I like the wafer, I like the red wine, I like the rosary beads or whatever. And I thought that was pretty cool. But the Latitude was kind of interesting because we talk a lot about safe spaces in society, and I'm not even entirely clear what that term means, because for some people, I think maybe like on the right or whatever, a safe space would be where they can say not PC things or whatever, and then maybe on the left, a safe space is where everybody's allowed to be, proud of who they are and not be shamed in any way or something like that. You can say, like, yes, I have had an abortion, and the safe space is that you won't be judged for that or something like that. The Latitude, though, was almost intentionally not a safe space.
Oh.
It was almost intentionally a place to, like, jimmy you out of your comfort zone a little bit,
gotcha.
and mess with you, and if you survive that process, you're good. You know, you're in. You're one of us. For a lot
So
of
you're
people,
sort of challenging their realities with things that were happening out there.
yeah, opposed to a space where you're comfy and cozy the whole time.
Okay, I love it.
That was
love it.
kind of
That's
the
great.
idea. But then once you get through that turbulent, as we'd say, flux state, then who are you and where are you and who are these people? And so it was a very strange ordeal.
What was the core? When did that start? And then, like, how long was the whole? That whole thing.
So Jejune closed in, I think it was April of 2011, and then it was in 2013 that the Latitude sprang up as a pay it forward kind of thing. So you couldn't pay to join. You would just be gifted a card and told to, like, go do this thing, and then
cool. Hello, sir. May I have some more coffee when you get the opportunity? Thanks.
And then afterwards, if you enjoyed the experience, it was sort of like a exit through the gift shop thing, where if you want to pay this experience forward, then you can buy a card.
Oh, that cool.
But that business model wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't working too well. Oh boy.
No. So when they tried to create like a membership, like a tithing kind of thing, all hell broke loose, and I'll just leave it at that with the film. But it went, I think, it opened sometime in early 2013.
Thank you.
Not early 2013. I'd say like
the location itself, or are you talking about the idea itself?
The location.
Oh, the location.
Yeah, the doors opened in, I think, the spring or summer of 2013.
Did you build those houses? Were those pre-existing little huts?
I helped build those houses. Yeah, yeah.
Whoa, man!
With a really helped build those houses.
You basically built your own little village.
Yeah.
I mean, where the heck? Where do you know? Is this village still
it's in Mendocino.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it visitable? I mean, is it like, because you said it closed, but like, is this
closed,
still a?
But now I think they may be open for like Airbnbs in the future. Probably not the too distant future.
Oh my
actually.
God, I would love to visit that place just to look around.
Have you been to Mendocino? Or
no, I never have.
It's a pretty magical place. It's like being in some fairy tale. Like,
whoa,
land.
man.
So I helped build the video installations and did some of the performance stuff, and then
did someone just have this land and they're like, we want you to build this thing here, or
basically, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I'll send you a link. I'd love to know what you think.
Yeah. How many little?
It's like six.
6 little huts, so 6 little...
And then there's like what you don't see much of is there's like a bunkhouse also.
Is that like the main like temple area or
sort
something?
Of, yeah. There's a few houses that are, I mean, it is perfectly set up location to be a cult compound, The difference was after, and every summer they would have these, you do all of the experiences like in the city all throughout the year, and then if you were worthy, essentially, you were invited up to these retreats in Mendocino where, you know, they were just like batshit crazy.
Astounding. So were a lot of those folks members of Jejune? They sort of migrated over into this thing?
You know what? Not really. There were some, but
Wow.
there was a big difference. There was a humongous difference, actually. A lot of the Jejune people were like, when they went into the Latitude, it was like, nope, no, this isn't for me. And the difference there, I think, there were a few things to it, but I think it came down to tone. Jejune was absurd and silly and kind of funny. And
Seemed like a choose-your-own-adventure quest.
Yeah.
Just out there for people to...
yeah, and it was always a little tongue-in-cheek. There was always like little jokes, and it was meant to be. There were definitely somber moments and really like powerful, touching moments, but the Latitude was supposed to be like oh, like this really kind of somber, creepy, like there could have been a vampire there or something. It was just like tonally and thematically, they're very different. Even if you want to say that they both did X for people and pushing them out of comfort zones or whatever.
Were people actually living there, or was it just like over a weekend?
It was over a week. So the retreats would happen over a weekend. So people would show up Friday, and then they would like either leave Sunday night or Monday. Sometimes they were like on long weekends, so they'd be like 4 days or something. Or I think you'd arrive like on when I did it. I went to a couple. I'd arrived Thursday, and then, you know, yeah, I gotta just show you the thing. I'll send you the link.
So was there someone always living on campus, so to speak, who like was sort of the groundskeeper, or? And then did you do it every weekend? Did you do it once a month? I mean, how often was that stuff?
They were done once a year. There was kind of like some New Year's Eve stuff that happened, but there was a groundskeeper, and then Massey Burke, who's a really amazing architect of like natural materials, I guess. So like they're all built with this weird sod and stuff, and that's it. They all had like power running through them and stuff like that.
Wow. Oh, cool.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You're welcome. I'll try to be quiet with that.
Thank you. Oh heck, even if you're not, that adds to the whole charm of this whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. But there was a groundskeeper, and then Massey lived up there for like a year, maybe 2 years or something like that.
And who's Massey? Was he one of the guys who helped create it?
Massey, she was one of the architects of like the huts themselves. So we'd go up and help build them, but she's like the one who like designed.
Oh, she's the one who. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And
wow, that must have been fun to see that kind of imagination come into reality. You know, where you design the idea of this hut, and then whoa, there it is. These things are livable. People are here. They are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It won't do much for your listeners, but afterwards I'll show you some of like the photos of that period and some of the retreats. But yeah, it was pretty crazy.
So you're just figuring out what now to do with the what was it, Bright Axiom?
Bright Axiom, yeah. We're kind of just figuring out what to do next with it. And this was kind of true with the Institute too. Like we had finished it in April, and then I think everybody just kind of goes on vacation in the summer, and then in the fall, like festivals kind of pick up.
Nicoletta Vanderloo, my friend who first hired Yachtly Crew to play at Grayson, her husband Grayson's surprise birthday party, which you can hear the podcast of. She ended up talking to her people about getting us into Disney California Adventure. It's all thanks to her. And she sent me a picture. She goes, "This is something I think you guys need." And they're called Spooky Mingos. Spooky Mingos. They're not pink flamingos. They're black and orange for Halloween. And she goes, "You guys need these." And I thought, oh boy. And it spawned this whole idea about how cool it would be is if we do a Halloween show. Instead of our blue and white costumes, we're wearing orange jackets and black shirts and pants. And our skin is all, rotted, and, we paint our faces and everything. And maybe what would be funny is if our clothes were all torn up. So then we started talking about the idea of like a Halloween cruise, a haunted cruise. So you got a cruise that, eventually maybe it would be like a week long for Halloween lovers. Every day's a new opportunity to get dressed up. Maybe there's face painting on there. Maybe they block off an entire floor just for haunted things. Or who knows? You got bands that are all, maybe the Misfits. Just these bands that dress up. Maybe Max Sabbath, that dress up sort of in a playful Halloween kind of way. Yachtly Crew. So then I started thinking, wouldn't it be so fun to charter a ship? And we've been thinking about this for Yachtly Crew, like renting a ship and then charging people to be on it, and we drive around for 3 or 4 hours, on a lake. And Yachtly Crew, maybe we play a couple of sets, 2 1-hour sets, and then, finish off the night. We get back. Maybe, oh gosh. I mean, that would be a good time. Maybe, and then we do a Halloween cruise where it's just for a day, just for a few hours or something. So this is my prediction. There is going to be, because I was talking to Nicoletta, and I said, I started joking about the idea of making a side band called Zombie Crew, and it would be just like Yachtly Crew, but it would just be zombies. So then I started thinking, oh boy, and then I would call myself Zombie Shores, and so then I started thinking, oh my gosh, that's the next thing, that's the next phase. I'm telling you right now, I'm calling it right now. If I don't invent it, there's going to be a zombie yacht rock band. They're going to dress like zombies. I know it. Zombies with Hawaiian shirts, maybe. And beach zombies. Beach zombies. Yacht. Oh, you call it rot rock. Rot yuck. Wait, rot yuck. Instead of yacht rock, you call it rot yuck. Rot yuck. It's a whole new genre. Rot yuck. And it's zombies singing yacht rock classics. Oh my god. That would be great. That would be fun. Oh my god. Rot yuck. But yeah, keep on the lookout for Yacht Rock Zombies. I mean, it's only a matter of time till it really starts stretching and getting really crazy. I mean, before you know it, there'll be a superhero team kind of thing called, let's see, what would a superhero team of Yacht Rock band of superheroes? I got to think about that one. I got to think about that one. But mark my words, there will be a zombie yacht rock band, and guess what? You heard it here first. Here's a quick little song that I was just inventing for Instagram, like a theme song. Instagram, you take me as me. You offer me any filter that I see. I'm pinning all these eyes to the scenery. Every Douglas fir is now blinking. Another good one with that. Out of this one, what's gonna work? Go. Swing to roll, kinda wanna get some round. Gotta wanna mess up, I tell you that. Man, an epiphany just struck my antenna here. I know I'm frequently inviting you to call the hotline, the Inspirado Projecto hotline, which is 561-203-9179, or even email it to me at inspiradoprojecto@gmail.com. About 3 minutes. I know I've said that before. I think I'm going to give you a little more direction. I would love it if you... How would you feel about doing a promo for Inspirado Projecto? Like you hear sometimes, you hear these folks, these wonderful folks, like Blythe Baines, for instance, and Mad Shelley. You'll hear the Mad Shelley production team at the end of this. How do you feel about that? Do you want to call up? Do you want to submit it? You can say your name. You can use an alias. If you've got a business, I mean, just do it fast. Say this is, this is. I don't know. Let's say this is Wiseman. Hi, this is Wiseman from Jolly Do Good Eyeball Service. And you're listening to Inspirado Projecto. You can include the project you're working on. Are you in a band? Yo, man. This is Razor Dog from the band Razor Dogs Incorporated. And you're listening to Inspirado Projecto. Anything goes. Hello, this is Carl Sagan, talking to you billions and billions of light years away from the planet Pluton. And you're listening to Inspirado Projecto. You get the point. You get it? Send it to me. Are you a fan of Yachtly Crew? Are you a croupie, as they say? I like to also add Yahtzees. I thought that was a brilliant idea when Wizard of LA told me that, the Yahtzees. So I like to call them the Yahtzees and the croupies, which is great. And then you spell yacht, Yachthseas, Yahtzees, perfect. Croupies, perfect. Are you a Yahtzee or a croupie? Say it in your promo. Hello, this is Captain Stubing. Hello, this is Captain Stubing. I'm a croupie of Yachtly Crew, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto. Happy trails. Send one to me. Just send it to me. I'd love to put it on here. If you email me your website or whatever it is you want to promote, and what I'll do is I'll link that in the description section. If you're looking at this description, in certain descriptions, you can actually see the hyperlinks. You can actually follow the hyperlinks. I don't always put hyperlinks in there, but I try to do more of it, more and more. I try to do more and more. So, go ahead, try it, test it out. 561-203-9179. You like that vibrato? False vibrato. 561-203-9179. You could also email me, inspiratoprojecto@gmail.com.
Hey Kurt, this is Richard Wilson from Mad Shelley Films, and we have a message for you.
This is Mad Shelley Films, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto Radio.